Hello everyone, I'm Sean, alright, and this is Everyday Food Reviews. Today, we've got some tea. Now that's perhaps a little bit different to what you might expect on this channel, but we'll come later to the reasons why I'm looking at this, if I've not put it in the title somehow. But this is from an Etsy store called Tenacious Tea, and it's ran by my friend Gina. I saw on Facebook that she was selling tea. I saw it a while ago. She makes all these different blends herself. They've all got names based on, I think it's all music and horror films and other sort of alternative pop culture references. Because I remember thinking when I first saw it, Tenacious Tea, I'd have gone with tenacity, because that's an actual word, tenacity, it's a bit of a pun there, until I saw all the names of the blends and thought, oh, it's a play on Tenacious D, it's all music and horror film references and that sort of thing. I get it now. So, yeah, we've got four different tea blends to look at. We'll go through them from, where are you looking at it from? From right to left, from your point of view. I ordered these on Etsy. It was, I think, £7.45 for 4 sample packs. You can specify any ones you want from the ones that she's got there. I think there's about 10 different ones. And they vary in price. For a 100-gram bag, it's between about £6.50 and £7.50 from what I've seen. Or you can get a 50-gram bag for less than a fiver. Postage is £3. So, you're looking at about a tenner for 100 grams. This is 4 25-gram bags, so this has cost me just over a tenner, and I've got 100 grams, but I've got 4 different ones. Each of these bags should do about 8 to 10 servings. So, we're looking at about a tenner for about 40 servings, and that's including postage. Now then, as I said, these are quite different. I'm going to pop these down for now. Got the thumbnail before we started recording. So we're going to start with Mouth Breather, which I believe is a Stranger Things reference. And this has in it, I've got my iPad for reference here. So I'd like to not make any mistakes. I'd like to not make mistakes anyway, but especially seeing as this is my friend's store I'm talking about, I definitely don't want to make mistakes. So this is a decongestant herbal tea blend. This one really appealed to me because you may or may not know I suffer quite a bit with my sinuses. That there was a time where I was quite badly addicted to Sudafed. If you've got sinus issues, Sudafed can be a real lifesaver. That's how it felt for me. But then, you end up in a vicious cycle when it wears off. Your sinuses constrict worse than they were before, so you take more of it, and it can spiral out of control pretty quickly. It sounds like a silly thing to have a really bad addiction to, but it was pretty bad for me at one point, and I don't mind admitting that. Yeah, this is Stranger Things inspired. I think that's a TV series. Eucalyptus, ginger, and peppermint are the headline ingredients in this one. Now, when I ordered this, Gina says on the store you get a free reusable tea bag. I thought, I'm going to be drinking this with my girlfriend. It would be really useful to have 2 of those, so I just asked her if I could have 2 of those, because I'm not a big tea person. I don't have infusers or anything like that, and she was kind enough to give me 2 of them. It wasn't until after that point that I thought I'd do a video on it. I just ordered this because it piqued my interest, and then I thought, I could do a video on that, and I thought, having the 2 tea bags came in really useful for getting all of these prepared to do this video. So it smells mainly of the peppermint to me. Is the eucalyptus certainly present as well. I can't smell ginger or lemon, but yeah, smells good. Cheers. Yeah, so I like that. I do like that. So this one doesn't have any caffeine in. It doesn't actually have any tea in it. So might be giving it a bit of a misnomer talking about tasting different teas. This one, I suppose, strictly speaking, isn't a tea. It's a herbal tea. I think that's what we call them. Even if it doesn't have tea in, we call it a herbal tea. You know, a herbal infusion drink. But yeah, I could certainly get on with that. The taste is really pleasant. I've not added sweetener to any of these. I do have some sweetener on hand because there's a couple I think I would like to add sweetener to, but I want to taste them without it first. Yeah, that's good. It goes down easy. Like I say, I first saw this and I thought, it's tea. I'm not into tea. But then I had another look at it, and we'll get to why. We'll get to what really tipped the balance for me. So this next one is called Arabian Nights, inspired by a Susie and the Banshees song. This one has rose petals and cacao husks and dark chocolate flakes and a blend of 5 luxury black teas from China, India and Nepal. However, those black teas are decaffeinated, which, for me personally, isn't something that would ordinarily appeal to me. However, what jumped out at me about this one in particular was the promise of it tasting like Turkish delight. I can't ignore a promise like that. Turkish delight is fantastic. Fry's Turkish delight specifically, you got the rose flavoured Turkish delight and the chocolate. And I'll be honest, I was sceptical. But then I opened this bag and smelt it and I thought, oh, that is so good. It smells like Turkish delight. It's uncanny. And smelling it in the cup even more so. So it's not something I would drink for caffeine, obviously, because it's got no caffeine there. But this is one I would like to add the sweetener to, and try it with that. But yeah, it smells of rose and chocolate. It smells like Turkish delight. Cheers. The rose is coming through so strongly. There's sort of it seems like that's overpowering the tea. I don't know the ratios of rose to tea or how those flavors usually come through. Like I say, I'm not a big tea drinker. That was part of my apprehension about doing a video. Like I say, it didn't occur to me until afterwards to do a video. The rose is coming through. There's a bit of a bitterness there, but I don't know if that's a chocolatey sort of bitterness or a black tea sort of bitterness. But excuse me, what we will do is add some sweetener. This is sucralose based sweetener. I will need to open it. Open it with the back of the spoon. No, we've not brought the right tools. I thought I'd come prepared, bringing up the sweetener. Speaking of coming prepared, we had a comment from my mate Chris on one of the other videos, and he said, when you're doing these comparison videos, have a glass of water to cleanse your palate between the drinks. And I brought the glass of water up and completely forgot to do that. Right, so we've got sucralose based sweetener in here now. So obviously it smells exactly the same. Oh. That at this point I'm kind of glad this doesn't have caffeine in, because I could drink a lot of that. I really could. Earl Grey blend. I don't. You'll see a comment. You'll see a motif throughout this video, and that's me saying I don't really drink a lot of tea. I don't think I've ever had Earl Grey tea. I honestly can't get over how much that's like Turkish Delight. That's really nice. I might like to see a caffeinated version of it. So then you got the option, you got the choice. I can't fault that. That's incredible. Now all of these, with the exception of this next one, brewed, it's tea, boiling water. I'd always took that for granted. Tea, boiling water, that's how you make it. But it actually varies. I did all these for about 4.5 minutes, all with freshly boiled water, except for this one, where it is recommended that we do it at about 80 to 85 degrees. So, we're talking more like coffee temperatures there. Because it's green tea. This is called Full Nettle Jacket, a play on Full Metal Jacket. If you like puns and that sort of thing, you're really going to enjoy the descriptions on these. So I won't read them out and spoil it for you. But this one is described as smooth, slightly smoky. It's got some amount of caffeine in it, I believe, from the green tea. But we're told that green tea and some of the petals in this can be scalded by boiling water, so we're not to use boiling water in this one. But it's been brewed for about the same amount of time. Now, water, well remembered. From the bag, straight from the bag, all of these smell amazing. This one, it smells citrusy and fresh and really good. It just smells so clean. In the mug, it's not smelling of much at all. I don't know if that's because I'd let the water cool too much, or if it's just that it's not going to smell of much. I don't know. Cheers. It tastes of lime. It tastes a little bit bitter, but I like that. I like a bitter taste every now and then. We talk a lot in the energy drink videos. I like sour flavours. I like bitter flavours as well. I like dark chocolate. I like coffee. I like beer. That's good. It's a little bit astringent. Maybe I didn't have. Maybe I didn't let the water cool quite enough. I'm not sure. Maybe I let it. I might have let it brew too long, to be honest. But even as it is, that's really good. Apart from the bitterness, which I find pleasant, it's very clean. It's fresh. It seems quite uplifting. I think the thing with a lot of hot drinks, coffee especially, hot chocolate especially, I find them quite heavy. They seem to sit heavy in your stomach. These are all hot, but they don't feel heavy. They feel light. Maybe the Arabian Knights felt a bit heavier, but I added sweetener to that one, so you'd expect that. It feels light. It feels nice. Yeah, it's there's an earthiness to it, but in a refreshing sort of uplifting way, not a sort of soily, dirty kind of way. It's very positive, fresh sort of flavour. I could get on with that. I will say I was expecting to like these. I'm going to be raving. Like I say, it's my friend Gina, so I'm not going to be. I might be biased, but if I didn't expect to like it, I wouldn't have bought them. Hello, I'm back from the future. I'm going to just splice this in somewhere in the video I just recorded about the Tenacious Tea. Well, you'll know that because you're currently watching the video, but I just took this downstairs to put it in the cupboard. I realised I didn't talk about the packaging, which is something I feel is quite important with these sort of handmade homebrew sort of Etsy products. Packaging's wonderful. It arrived in a box, and that they were all flat like this. But they are actually pouches that you can expand out and stand up on their own and come branded like that. It's a nice feeling paper bag, and it's got a clear window there. Now with these 25-gram sample bags, the window's not that great, because when you expand it out properly, you can't really see anything in there. But if that was had twice as much in it, it'd be right up at the top of the window. So that's really cool. That's a nice feature. Then on the back, you've got, well, on the front you've got the name of the tea. Then on the back of it, you've got the name of the tea again, with the ingredients and your specific instructions. This one's infused for 4 to 5 minutes at 100 degrees Celsius. The other one, the full Nettle Jacket, for instance, would say 80 to 85 degrees Celsius for, I think, 3 to 5 minutes. And we've got a best before date and some storage instructions and a lovely thank you sticker. But thank you, Gina. I've really enjoyed that. Spoiler alert, potentially. Yeah, it'd make a nice present for someone as well, I think. If you know anybody into tea or not, it would make a nice present. So yeah, there's that. We'll get back to the actual video. Cheers. Now, this final tea we've got to try is called Re-Animator, presumably named after the science fiction horror film from, I want to say, the 80s. I've seen it, but I was about 8 or 9 years old when I saw it. This has a few notable ingredients. It's got black tea from China. I'm not enough into tea to know if the country that it comes from is relevant. I assume if you are into tea, that's going to be important information for you. But for me, I'm not sure what that information actually implies. I'll try some water. I've heard that there's a lot of tea in China, but beyond that, I'm not sure what that implies. So what this has in it: black tea, caffeine. We've got blackberry, safflower petals, marigold petals. We're gonna be expecting this. It's got mango, it's got apple, it's got orange, lemongrass. We're going to be expecting this to taste fruity. The description says it tastes of cola and lemon, and that's a good thing in my books. That's two of my favourite things: Coke and something sour. This excites me, but that's not what excites me about it. The thing that excites me about it is it's got guarana seeds in it, and if you know guarana seeds, that, I believe, is what they used to make, the original energy drinks. The time was you couldn't see energy drinks without them saying guarana on them. Guarana has about 3 times as much caffeine as coffee, and that's why it's used as the caffeine source for a lot of these energy drinks. I don't know if it is now, but yeah, like I say, I remember a time where that was on every energy drink out there. That's certainly how I remember it anyway. But it's also got something called Gotu Kola. Gotu Kola is the Chinese name for Centella asiatica, which is a type of pennywort. It's a plant. The interesting thing about that, to me, I went on Google. There's a lot of claimed health benefits, but you'll find with a lot of herbs, a lot of things, there's a lot of claimed health benefits. But one thing I found specifically, I found a study on the possible involvement of nitric oxide modulatory mechanisms in the neuroprotective effect of Centella asiatica against sleep deprivation, induced anxiety-like behaviour, oxidative damage, and neuroinflammation. From what I can tell, the long and short of that study, it's a trial on mice, but the long and short of that is that this Gotu Kola has a positive effect in terms of reducing anxiety, specifically anxiety caused by sleep deprivation in mice. So what better thing is there to have in a drink that you're drinking for the caffeine of it? You know, if you're drinking something for the caffeine, it's because, unless you're just addicted to caffeine in general, it's because of the boost it gives if you've had a rough night's sleep, you know. And the problem a lot of the time with caffeine drinks, it's as best as I can tell, it's the reason they put something called anisotol in Monster. It's been shown that anisotol can reduce anxiety, but it's also well known that generally caffeine increases anxiety. At the end of the day, it's a balance, you know. I enjoy drinking energy drinks, and doing something I enjoy helps with my anxiety overall. Maybe I would be better off without them. Maybe I'd be better off without caffeine as a whole, but without, you know, going cold turkey or cutting back. We won't necessarily know, but it's not something I'd like. It's not something I've felt the need to do. That brings us to back to this drink. Back to this drink that the video is about. This has various caffeine sources. It's got a seemingly interesting flavour. It smells like it's going to taste interesting, exciting, fruity, you know, cola and lemon. It's got tea, all the good things that come with tea. You've got the antioxidants from the hibiscus. There's a lot of good things there, and it got me thinking. There's a lot of overlap between this and something like G Fuel and Sneak. This doesn't have the amino acids, it doesn't have any electrolyte blend, but it does have the potential for more antioxidants in the hibiscus. The problem with it is it's difficult to get precise numbers because it can vary with the temperature of your water, the amount of tea that you use. Speaking of which, I used 2 teaspoons in each cotton bag for each one. So, you know, but yeah, it's difficult to get exact numbers for things like caffeine and antioxidants and that sort of thing with this. But if we were to estimate something like 40 to 50 milligrams of caffeine per serving, you could have 2 or 3 servings. That would be the same as a can of Monster. So, you know, just put 2 or 3 heaped teaspoons in one of those big mugs. You know, you potentially looking at as much caffeine as a can of Monster, or a portion of Sneak or G Fuel. A portion of Sneak or G Fuel. I mean, G Fuel you can get on the buy one get one free sales. It works out £22 if you buy 4 tubs with the shipping and taxes. Works out about £22 a tub. Sneak is £35 plus £4 or £6 shipping, depending on the shipping you select. It's £39 or £41 for 40 servings. That's about £1 a serving. Without the shipping, they say it's 88p a serving. This is about a tenner for about 40 servings. I think that's all I need to say there. Cheers. It smells of lemon. It smells of lemon and cola cubes. It's really uncanny. Cheers. It's sour. That's good. It seems like there's an initial sour taste and then a sort of, it's like a cola flavoured undertone. Now this is the other one I wanted to try with a bit of sweetener. We'll just add about half a spoon of this. I can always add more, but I can't add less. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. I'd drink that cold. I'd drink that over ice. I'd drink it hot. You know, I was thinking when I ordered this, I said I'd come back to this. We've been a bit back and forth. We've been a bit all over the place, but it was when I saw this and I saw that it had guarana seeds in it, and knowing that they're a potent source of caffeine, stopping and thinking about it, thinking it's getting cold. I could do with drinking hot drinks, certainly every now and then, instead of cold drinks. I wonder if that could replace G Fuel or Sneak for me. In terms of flavour, I think it can. Sneak is sold on the basis that it's got no artificial flavours and that it's sugar free. This has no artificial flavours and is sugar free, but it doesn't come preloaded with Ace K and sucralose. Sneak is sold on the basis that it's cheaper than your cans of Monster and Red Bull. Per serving, this is about a quarter of the cost of Sneak. And that's why I think potentially tea could be a more viable alternative to energy drinks than Sneak or G Fuel. Don't get me wrong, I still love them. I'm still going to drink them. This isn't going to replace it. You know, I'm being honest. It's, for me, it's not going to replace it because I enjoy those things too much. But on a day-to-day basis, it's probably going to replace it some days. I fully anticipate ordering a big bag of this and probably a big bag of the Arabian Knights just because I love the flavour. Although I would like to see a caffeinated version of it, and then maybe I'd order a 50-gram bag of that and a 50-gram bag of the decaf one. But I can see this doing it for me. I will update it in the description how I felt editing this video, like I did with the other the nootropic energy drink video. I know we've had a few comments saying, you know, you need to evaluate the effects of the drink, and I think with something like this where we've not got published amounts of caffeine for them, it's going to be especially important, especially if I'm going to sit here and make bold claims like this could replace G Fuel. I'm going to need to back that up with some anecdotal evidence at the end. But yeah, that's the other thing as well. Gotu Kola. There's I didn't read any of these studies, but I read the one I just mentioned. But there's also apparently studies out there saying it's a good nootropic. I've seen it being discussed on the nootropic forums when I looked that up, and that's the main reason I can see that it's in this is for its brain boosting properties. Looking at the description, Gotu Kola has been shown to improve brain function. But like I say, for me personally, that stuff about the possible reductions in anxiety, that really appealed to me. But again, I only looked that up today. It was just something that tastes of cola and is full of guarana. That used to be all we wanted from any energy drink. And that's what this is. But it's tea. It's not an energy drink. And I don't know if I can quite wrap my head around that. I don't know what reception this video is going to have. I don't know if I'm going to get comments like, oh wow, Sean, that's really cool, I never thought of that, I'm going to order some of that as well. Or if I'm going to get comments like, it's tea, it's not an energy drink, what are you on about? I don't know. I don't know what people are going to think. We'll find out. Let me know. Let me know what you think. Personally, I'm excited, and I spoke to Gina. I said, can do a video. I said we don't have a lot of viewers or anything, but we have more than we thought we'd get. But you know, I'm thinking I'd like to do a video on it because I've had a few thoughts, and I'd like to do a video on it. And she said that's great. So she says that she's working on a version 2 of this that may or may not contain coffee and more caffeine, which is great. You know, it's going to save having to double or triple up on it to get the sort of caffeine that you might be used to in a can of Monster or a portion of G Fuel. I would recommend it. You can have it with sugar or sweetener because it's not preloaded with it, or you can have it without. I couldn't recommend it highly enough. The full Nettle Jacket was it was nice enough, but I think it's just for me personally, it's overshadowed a bit. The mouth breather, obviously, I said I like the decongestant idea of that because I do suffer occasionally with my sinuses, so that stands on its own. The flavour of the Arabian Nights is absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely. This Re-Animator, the flavour's fantastic, and it's full of caffeine, which you know is something that we're going to get excited about. The full Nettle Jacket, I think, it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it, but there's nothing that stands out for me compared to the others. Some people might be just really into that sort of clean, no nonsense, uplifting taste, and don't get me wrong, I do like that. I do like that about it, but there's just things I prefer about all of the others. Yeah, for $7.45 you can get a sample pack. That she's got. I'll link to the Etsy store. I'll link to the sample pack specifically. You can click on the store and look at everything that's on there. When these run out, I'll probably order another pack of 4, but 4 different ones, and then order a big bag of this and a big bag of this. I can feel myself. I don't know if it's a mental thing, but it does feel like I'm a bit overclocked at the moment. Now, that's not something that normally happens to me throughout a video, over the course of a video, unless we're looking at energy drinks and that sort of thing. So initial thoughts are that the effects are pretty good in that regard. But yeah, a bit of sweetener in the Arabian Nights, and the Re-Animator really levels it out, really brings out those sweet flavours. Like I say, the Arabian Nights tasted of rose as it was. It had a bit of sweetener, it really rounds it out. You really get that chocolate flavour. This had a bit of sweetener, lemon flavour, exactly the same, sourness exactly the same, but it's really rounding out that cola flavour, and that's really coming through so much more. If you're into natural stuff, you could use actual sugar, you could use honey, you could use stevia. Is that a natural sweetener, stevia? Like I say, I expected to like it. I expected to be impressed for what I paid for it, but you'll probably know if it appeals to you or not. I say that on a lot of videos. I don't want to tell people, go out and buy this, you will like it. From what I've said, you'll probably know if you're not going to like it, but I'd say do reconsider if you decided against it, because when I first heard of it, I was, tea, whatever. Give it a second thought. It's only a tenner, and you got enough for about 30 or 40 cups of tea here for a tenner delivered. So, you'd have to really not get on with it for it not to be worth that. It is a lot more than regular tea bags, but like this one specifically, like I say, I'd be more inclined to compare it to something like Sneak than I would regular tea bags. And Sneak's 40 quid. So, let me know what you think. Let me know if that's a valid comparison in your book. But I think I'm sticking with it. Yeah, hopefully I didn't get anything wrong in the video. I don't usually do a video on something so close to home, so there's a bit of extra pressure in my mind to not screw it up. So hopefully it's been all right. If there are any corrections to make, hopefully I can make them in the editing stage, but do check the description in case there is anything like that in there. The links to the shop will be in the description. If you order from the shop, like, leave a note or something, and say you hear from the channel, I'm sure that'd be appreciated. I'd appreciate it. I don't know what practical difference it makes to anything, but just knowing if any of our lot, if any of the energy drink lot are giving tea a go, I'm sure, if you enjoy it as well, leaving a review on Etsy, it'd be great. Like feedback from some people who aren't necessarily ordinarily tea people. Assuming it's good. I don't see why it wouldn't be good. But assuming it's good, I think that feedback could really mean the world. So, yeah, thanks very much for joining us. We'll see you next time. Cheers.